It was Christmas night in the year 2025. The world was not a peaceful place. Many lands were struggling with war. Poverty touched countless lives, making daily living very hard. People and countries felt divided, often arguing instead of working together. High above the crowd, from the central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, a new leader stepped forward. This was Pope Leo XIV. Usually, popes give warm, happy Christmas messages, but Pope Leo XIV did not. His first words were a powerful and important challenge for everyone. He spoke loudly, saying, "Wake up." These two simple words showed how serious his message was. He said that Christmas was not just a time for celebration. It was a time to look deep into humanity's heart. It was a true test of how people cared for each other. The Pope spoke of the small, helpless baby Jesus. He made a clear connection between that baby's vulnerability and the suffering of people in our modern world. He talked about ordinary families and children in Gaza living in fear. He remembered the hungry people in Yemen who had little food. He also thought of refugees traveling difficult routes, looking for safe places to live. They faced many dangers on their long journeys. But this new pope, who was American, seemed to focus greatly on these specific problems. Why were these issues so important to him? What had he seen or done in his past life that made his caring so strong and real? To truly understand the deep meaning and power of his words, we first need to learn about the man who spoke them. Who exactly is Pope Leo XIV? What parts of his personal history have given his urgent plea such a serious and commanding voice? Before we can fully grasp the weight of his message, we must look into his own story. His past holds the key to why his message felt so terrifyingly important to the world that Christmas night. 2. A new pope. Pope Leo XIV was a new leader in the Vatican. His name was Robert Francis Prevost. He was born in Chicago in 1955. He became the first American to be pope. He was also the first from the Augustinian order. He was elected on May 8, 2025. His election surprised many people worldwide. Before he became pope, Robert Francis Prevost was not a typical Vatican leader. He spent many decades as a missionary. He lived and worked in Peru, far from global power centers. There, he became a bishop. He saw much poverty, political trouble, and suffering. This long time on the peripheries or edges of society deeply shaped his beliefs. He learned about human pain firsthand. His years in Peru taught him the importance of unity and understanding for all. His experiences gave him a unique view of wealth, politics, and suffering. He saw the world not from grand palaces, but from places where people struggled daily. This made him a different kind of leader. It showed he would not be afraid to challenge powerful leaders. He would speak for those often forgotten. These strong beliefs would soon bring him into conflict with important world leaders. Now, with this past of seeing real human suffering, we return to the Vatican. It is still Christmas night. Pope Leo XIV is ready to give his homily. His words will use the simple story of a vulnerable child. He will use it to challenge the most powerful systems of the world. He will ask everyone to look at their own choices. 3. The Pope speaks. Pope Leo XIV's Christmas night speech began in St. Peter's Basilica. He spoke of people who walked in darkness, seeing a great light. This was the core of his message. He contrasted those who looked to distant stars for answers with those who found truth by bending low over a child in a manger. He said true understanding came from looking closely at simple, vulnerable things, not from grand power. The Pope explained that Jesus' birth showed the infinite dignity of every person. God chose to be born without power. This, he said, exposed systems that treat people like items to be bought and sold. He called this a distorted economy. He did not name any countries or companies. However, he suggested that pride, the wish to dominate, and seeing people as goods were at the root of many global problems and personal wrongs. Pope Leo XIV stated that if society did not make room for every human being, it also left no room for God. He asked people to see Christmas as a time to think about how they treat others. He warned that being uncaring or indifferent to suffering was a kind of darkness. This darkness, he explained, could grow with comfort or distraction. His calm language grew into a strong critique of pride, domination, and indifference. He urged everyone to wake up to this truth. The Pope had now shared his core philosophy. He condemned systems that harmed human dignity. He made these deep ideas clear to all. His speech was about to change from abstract thoughts. The world listened, knowing he would soon begin to name specific places. He was ready to point out the actual front lines of human suffering around the globe. 4. A sad world. After his Christmas night homily, Pope Leo XIV gave his special Urbi et Orbi blessing. He spoke to the world from the main balcony of the Vatican, telling everyone about the sad state of the world. His voice was strong, and he did not hold back. He began to name the places where people suffered greatly from war and trouble. First, he spoke of Gaza, a place heavy with conflict. He described families, children, and old people living in simple tents. They faced cold rain and strong winds, their lives filled with hardship. Their homes were gone, and their days were very difficult, especially during the cold season. He wanted everyone to truly understand their painful situation. Then the Pope mentioned Ukraine. He called the people there tormented, meaning they faced much pain, sadness, and fear because of the ongoing war. He reminded the world that their struggles continued, day after day, even on Christmas Day. His words moved quickly to Africa, naming places like Mali, Burkina Faso, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. These were countries where many conflicts were often forgotten by the world's news, but Pope Leo did not forget. He said people there also suffered terribly from violence, political chaos, and war, often out of sight. He also asked for justice, peace, and stability in Lebanon, Israel, the Palestinian territories, and Syria. He called for important talks in Myanmar and other parts of Asia, where many face deep troubles from fighting and persecution. He also asked for comfort for all those affected by terrorism. The sheer number of sad places and suffering he named felt heavy in the air. It made many people wonder, could one person's powerful words truly change such widespread problems? Could his sincere call for justice and peace really make a difference when there was so much violence and indifference? The question hung in the air, echoing through the square and across the world. Was this a hopeful message, bringing light, or just a hopeless cry for help in a dark time?
Pope Leo had talked about soldiers and countries fighting each other, but then he quickly turned his focus to a different group of people. Their suffering was not just caused by big governments or warring armies. It also showed how ordinary people in rich countries might be part of the problem, even without realizing it. Their daily lives and choices were tied to this deeper pain. People on the move. After speaking about wars, Pope Leo XIV changed his focus to people who often get less attention. He talked about migrants, refugees, and those who have no home. He said these people are just like the Holy Family long ago, who had to look for a safe place to stay. The Pope drew a clear line between the past and today. He spoke about large refugee camps filled with tents in many countries. He also spoke of the small, temporary homes of people living on city streets. He said these places were like the fragile tent where the Christ child was born. This idea asked everyone to see migration in a new way, not just as a problem for governments. He wanted people to understand that those who move from their homes are not numbers or problems. They are human beings. Their journey is a big test for all of humanity. Do we truly care for others? Can we offer help to those who are most vulnerable and in need?
Pope Leo XIV also spoke about other important struggles. He talked about people who cannot find work and those who are paid very little for their hard labor. He mentioned the many people who suffer because of big changes in the world's weather, like strong storms or dry lands. These problems, he said, often force people to leave their homes to find safety or a chance at a better life. He stressed that people crossing dangerous seas or walking across continents share the same difficulties that the Christ child faced. He wanted everyone listening to feel a strong connection with these suffering people. His message asked us to look beyond national borders and political rules. He asked us to remember our shared humanity above all else. This powerful part of his Christmas speech helped listeners feel closer to the people on the move. It made them think about how vulnerable people are often treated. Pope Leo was doing more than just asking for people to be kind. He was preparing to reveal his main point against the modern world. He called it a world with a deadly indifference to the pain of others. 6. A message for you. Pope Leo XIV had a very clear message for everyone. He asked people to shed indifference. This means to stop not caring about the problems of others. He said that if people stay neutral when there is injustice, they become part of the problem. If bad things happen and you do nothing, you are also helping the problem continue.
The Pope explained that true peace needs people to take responsibility. He used a quote that said, "God made us, but He will not save us if we do not also try." This means that we must act. We cannot just wait for things to get better. We must help make them better, especially in our communities and in politics. He also spoke about monologues. This is when different groups, like political parties or cultural groups, only talk among themselves. They do not listen to others who think differently. The Pope said that these monologues must stop. He wanted people to truly listen to each other and have real conversations. He believed that if people listened more, they would see the humanity in others. This kind of listening helps end fighting and misunderstanding. It is like God Himself talks to us and asks us to talk to each other. This idea of dialogue and listening was very important to Pope Leo XIV because of his past. He spent many years as a missionary and bishop in Peru. In Peru, he saw societies that were divided and had many problems. People there often did not listen to each other. He learned that talking and listening were the only ways to bring people together and heal their pain. His time there showed him how important it was to build bridges between people, even when they disagreed. But the Pope was not just asking for a change of heart. His message also had a deeper meaning.
He gently criticized the large economic systems and political ways that control the world. He talked about a distorted economy that treats people like things to buy and sell. This made people wonder, who was the Pope really pointing to? Was he talking to big companies, powerful governments, or something else entirely? A world of power. Pope Leo XIV's Christmas message was far more than just kind words or a simple holiday greeting. It was a powerful challenge aimed directly at the world's most influential groups and systems. He directly addressed governments, major international bodies, and the vast, complex systems of global supply chains. He spoke out against what he called a distorted economy. In his view, this economy treats human beings as if they were mere merchandise rather than individuals with inherent and infinite worth. The Pope highlighted the widespread, often hidden suffering caused by this economic model. He spoke about the struggles of people who are jobless and those who are underpaid or exploited in their work. He invited listeners to think deeply about how global trade and local business practices can harm families and take away basic human dignity. His message strongly suggested that these economic structures often prioritize profit over people, creating new front lines of suffering, even in supposedly peaceful times.
He openly challenged political leaders, international diplomats, and large corporations to examine their roles in these global systems. His strong words also turned a critical eye inward, forcing many to ask hard questions about the Catholic Church itself. Pope Leo XIV did not speak directly about the Church's past failures, like the well-known abuse scandals that have deeply damaged its reputation. However, his insistent call for responsibility, transparency, and deep respect for the vulnerable resonated strongly with the ongoing need for internal reform within the Church. He famously said that even a humble stable could become more sacred than a grand temple if it offered shelter to a life in need. This statement made people question if the Church truly focused its vast resources and attention on helping the weakest members of society, ensuring its actions matched its powerful rhetoric. The Pope's speech was a direct institutional challenge, moving beyond a simple moral appeal. It made it clear that the Church itself must live up to the values it teaches to maintain its credibility. Pope Leo XIV put the world on notice and forced his own institution to look closely in the mirror. But the ultimate power of his message would not depend on popes or politicians alone. It would ultimately depend on the everyday actions of ordinary people around the globe. 8. The Big Question. Pope Leo XIV's Christmas message was a strong call to action for everyone.
He did not want Christmas to be just a happy holiday where people forget global problems. Instead, he urged people to wake up to the world's suffering. He showed that Christmas is a true test for all of humanity, asking how we respond when others face war, poverty, or must leave their homes. The Pope connected the simple story of the Christ child to people suffering right now. He spoke of families in war zones, hungry people, and refugees on hard journeys. He said that if we ignore these problems, our Christmas celebrations lose their real meaning. He called this deadly indifference, warning that comfort and distractions can make us blind to the pain around us, creating a kind of darkness. His powerful speech was not only for world leaders or big organizations, it was also for every single person listening. Pope Leo asked a very big and personal question. Where do you make room for the human person in your own life? This means thinking about how your actions, your money, your community, and your heart truly support those who are vulnerable. Pope Leo XIV did not give easy answers. Instead, he gave a hard challenge. He pushed everyone to look deep inside themselves. He wanted people to decide if his words were just nice ideas or if they would change how they live. He hoped his message would be a strong light against the darkness of not caring. His speech transformed Christmas from a simple religious event into a deep look at our shared humanity. It made people think about their daily choices and if they truly show care for others, especially those in great need. This central question from the Pope's address still asks us all to keep examining our lives. What one small thing can you do this week to make room for someone vulnerable in your life?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.